Welcome to a Parallel Project Training APM Project Fundamentals Qualification podcast based on the APM Body of Knowledge 7th edition. You should be using this in conjunction with our e-learning, podcasts and potentially a tutor-led course. For more information, please visit www.parallelprojecttraining.com.
Okay, welcome to another Parallel Project Training podcast. This is based on the Body of Knowledge 7th edition, and we're focusing on the Project Fundamentals qualification for this podcast. So feel free to listen if you're not studying for that qualification, but just to make you aware of that. And we're going to talk, my name I should say is Michelle Greaves, and I'm joined today by Jan Underdown. Hello, Jan.
There. How are you doing?
And we're going to talk today about the business case. So a key document that often crops up in projects. And the assessment criteria that we're going to cover include the purpose and typical contents of the business case, and also the role of the project sponsor and the project manager in relation to that business case. So, Jan, what is a business case, first of all?
Business case basically is providing, if you like, the justification for why we should spend some money in terms of what the benefits are going to get back out of it. And of course, typically a business case, the benefits should actually outweigh the amount of money we're going to spend. So this is really sometimes getting access to funding. If you're getting external funding, you will need a business case to justify them giving you the money. And it's the same way within organisations. Why should I give you £1,000? And you said, well, I'm going to redevelop the training processes to provide much more effective and efficient training to provide us increase in levels of competency around an organisation. Or adversely, you could say, we've got a lot of debates at the moment about electric cars, so why should we invest in electric cars? And of course, the benefits of that is it may be more efficiency in terms of running the cars and also lower maintenance, but also it helps lessen the impact against the environment. And some of those things we can measure and sometimes we can't measure. So why should we do the project? What is the reasons why, the so what factor around the project?
So it's a lot about the why and, as you say, the justification for the project. So what are the reasons, or what are the purposes there behind the business case? Why would we need to actually put pen to paper for that document?
It usually gets triggered by a variety of ways. It could be a strategic driver, the direction an organisation's going in terms of maybe developing new products to actually exploit a marketplace situation. It could be to develop the organisation to make it lean and meaner in terms of efficiency. It could be to increase a kind of efficiency around the IT. So it's really providing that access to the funding to provide the reasons why you need to do that. And often, of course, in another podcast, we talked about projects and programmes, etc. We need to make sure we have that clear line of sight to the strategy. How does it support the strategy?
So it's quite often linked to an organisation's governance, saying when you've got a project that needs this amount of funding, then you need to have a business case at this point.
Absolutely. And there's certain sectors within the business industry, particularly around the NGOs, they need to provide justification of why they're spending such amount of money. What is the return they're getting back?
So what's going to be in it? What are some of the typical contents of the business case?
Well, we mentioned the strategy just now in terms of the strategic case. Where's the project coming from? Why does it need? What's been the trigger of this? It could be an external driver. In another podcast, we've talked about project context and environment. It could be the change in law, for example. Like, a few months back we had GDPR that everybody had to comply with, and if we didn't comply with it, then we're looking at huge fines and probably loss of reputation, etc. So what's the driver for this? And also, what options are we evaluated and which one is the chosen option? So taking something like the electric car, we could actually do manufacturing within the UK. We may actually take the manufacturing overseas. Are we going to do the full-blown car? Are we going to go with hybrid cars? So what are our options and why do we choose that particular option? Each option will be evaluated in terms of its costs and its risks against the benefits we're looking for as well. So which one's the best?
And I think that's a really key purpose of the business case as well, isn't it? That we sometimes run ahead head and just say, oh, we want to build an electric car, let's go and build it. And don't stop and think about the different options and explore the different options.
Right. It is.
So I think it's a really good point to recognise what are the different options we can do, but also can we have an option of do everything? Can we have an option of do a little bit? Or could we just choose to do nothing?
Yes. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It depends on what the environment's looking for as well. At the moment, we take the analogy of the electric cars, the infrastructure's not there yet. And so organisations like the car manufacturing firms are actually tentatively going into this marketplace. We have some have gone full commitment on this, and often they're the actual leaders within the market.
So we've got the strategic case and we've got some options. What other things will we
There's also
there?
things like the effects of business as usual. You take the electric car analogy, you're talking about completely different manufacturing environment. What changes are going to have to be impact to that business as usual? Because you're making that massive step change in terms of what equipment, environments, what people, retraining is going to require. And of course, all of that will actually then actually contributes to the actual benefits at the end of the day. So there's going to be a lot of costs and changes around that. Other things as well is what are the benefits? Why are we doing this? And it's what I call the so what factor.
Yeah.
So what is a so what? Well, we could be leaders in the marketplace. We could be exploiting new technology. We're actually being seen as an organisation that's very green in terms of the environmental impact. It could be we're actually generating work and jobs in social sense within a community. So what is the so what factor? And often that so what factor, the actual benefits are often financial.
Yep.
But not all of them financial. If you talk to charities, they'll talk about much more outcome or impact.
Yeah.
Like you've done work from some rescue societies where their impact is to get to and rescue people very quickly.
Yes.
That's not financial. Okay, the other thing is commercial aspects. It's where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
As well. And also if we're developing things like cars, you just not development of the car, but also the through life costs, the maintenance costs, and also disposal costs perhaps, right, recyclability as well. And also, are there any sort of rules we have to follow? Are we going to borrow lots of money? Are we being externally funded? They're going to need some clarity around what we're doing as well, and some caveats. What about the appraisals? We may not get payback on the electric car for, say, 5 years. Then we have to discount the money and stuff like that. So we have to really look at this very, very, very well.
It kind of pulls in some constraints there as well, doesn't it, Jan?
Yes.
We might have a certain amount of money, but we've got to spend it before the end of the financial year.
Absolutely.
So we've got a timescale constraint.
And this is where we see organisations running around with little bits of money, trying to say, we need to do this project now.
Yeah, yes. We will need to spend it yesterday. Quick.
Otherwise we lose it.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it. Okay.
So constraints can often come into your business case as well. I think you covered some really good headings there. For me, kind of, if I said the top three, it's absolutely about what are the costs of doing it, what are the benefits against what are the risks of what as well, and that could be the risks of not doing something or the risks of doing it as well. And looking at those three factors against all the different options to then come up with a proposal or a recommendation to take forward.
Yes, and you talked about the risk of not doing something like GDPR. If you did not become compliant to GDPR, then you've got reputational risk and risks to the business of huge fines.
And the fines were just so
it's
astronomical,
a must-do.
aren't they?
Electric car, the risks is the perception of the marketplace.
Yeah.
Where's the marketplace going with this? Or will we actually have the infrastructure support as technology going forward? Also within that would be the key dates. The target dates of delivery of the project to exploit something like the marketplace in terms of electric cars. And also we're going to get the benefits back.
Is it going to be quite detailed at this stage?
No, we're talking about high level. When we come out of concept, it's very, very high level, almost like a sketch almost. But once we get into definition and we build the project management plan, we'll get much more clarity in terms of what you said, the time, the costs, and also the scope, and also the risks and benefits will be be really highlighted as well.
Yeah, so you mentioned definition there. So it's good for us to talk about when all this is kind of happening. So we're going to get our kind of sketch of our business case in the concept phase of the life cycle, aren't we? But you might kind of refine that as you then go through the definition phase as well.
As you get the detail in the project management plan, you may actually say, actually, it's not a good idea. We're not going to get the benefits. We've actually analysed costs, we've analysed risks, and all the other aspects of the project, and it just doesn't stack up. And that's not a failure. That's, the marketplace is not ready for this yet.
It's good thinking. Let's stop now before we get too far ahead.
Yeah.
So just to finish off then, let's talk about the role of the project manager and the sponsor in relation to the business case. So what does the sponsor do for the business case?
Okay, well, the sponsor would be responsible for the business case and also to put the business case together. May not be it themselves, may not have the actual expertise.
Yeah, in my experience, and it may be for some people listening going, the sponsors are writing the business case. Now I have to do it all the time.
Right, yeah.
So it quite often gets delegated, doesn't it?
If it does get delegated, don't think you have to lock yourself in a darkened room and build. You cannot build a business case on your own. You need expertise. You need people who's going to look at those options and clarify whether those options are relevant or feasible. If you're going to do investment appraisal, you need financial whiz kids on this as well to do all the spreadsheets and things to look at that. You might actually have to have risk experts. So there's lots of expertise that may come together to actually help the construction of the business case.
So the project manager and the sponsor will quite often collaborate on the business case, even if the project manager is actually physically putting pen to paper for the writing. But who then signs it off?
Well, often the steering group, project board steering group, senior management would actually then sign it off. But the sponsor acts as their peer as well, that our connection to, if you think of the project as being a bubble, the outside world, which may be the business. So they'll be ultimately accountable for it, but it will be signed off by a steering group.
I get asked this a lot, and I always say that you can't really sign off your own work.
That's right.
If I was going to ask myself for £100,000, I'd probably say yes.
Oh, yeah, cool. Where
so
we
it's
going?
Good it goes up to that more senior role, those sort of board or an executive or any form of directors that are going to kind of sign off on the project.
And of course, we've talked in other podcasts about being part of a programme or a portfolio, and of course that's part of the bigger picture, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about the business case, the purpose of the business case and some of the key contents, and then how the roles kind of link into the construction and approval of that business case. So I think that gives you some good food for thought for the Project Fundamentals qualification. So thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, take care.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast and found it informative. To find out about our training courses, e-learning or tutor-led course, please go to www.parallelprojecttraining.com.